So hello everyone, welcome to the session. So yeah, so I hope you are doing well. So let's start our session. Yesterday we discussed few things, right? Yesterday we discussed few things in the session. So we are going to discuss the rest of the point which I not covered in the last session. So kindly, I hope you guys revise whichever the topic that I explained to you in the last session, right? So then let's discuss the next point. So in the yesterday session, we created the database, right? We created the database and we applied different kinds of techniques on the tables, right? We created the database, then we created the table, and then we did some sort of manipulation on the table, right? We did that in the yesterday session. So now here in this case, in today's session, we are going to understand a lot of things. The first thing, how to apply a unique key, how to use a composite key. We are going to discuss that. And once I complete that part, then we are going to discuss about how to apply a order by, how to apply a distinct, and many more things that we are going to discuss. Okay. So now let's dive into the session. So first thing, whenever you work on the SQL, we need to create the database, right? We need to create a database. So here, in this case, I'm going to create a database. So to create a database, we are having a create a query. So I'm just going to use that. Create database and database name, right? Create database and database name. As of now, I'm going to create a database, which is nothing but 360 digit MG, right? I'm just creating this database. Once I create the database, then we need to refresh the schemas, right? Once you refresh the schemas from in the left side, then we can see that the database which is present in this, right? We can see that. After that, once you create the database, then we need to use database so that to create a table into the database. That is the point. So as of now, I'm going to use this database which I created, which is nothing but 360 digit MG. I just created the database. I use the database so that I can create a table and I can apply different techniques on this. In the last session, we discussed about a primary key, right? We discuss about the primary key, right? We understand that we can use only one primary key in a table. Only one. Only one primary key in the table, right? It will not allow duplicate value. Not allow duplicate value. Duplicate value. It not allow not null values. It will not accept null values, as we know that. Not null values. And yeah, this thing that we discussed in the last session, right? So so we are going to discuss the advanced version of the keys of the constraints. So let's dive into that. Let's dive into that. So as of now, I'm going to use a composite key in the different manner. So the thing is, here I'm going to create a table over here. So, okay, I'm going to create a table, which is nothing but student table. I'm just going to create a student table over here. In that, I'm going to mention a name. First name, we know that whenever you create a table and whenever you are adding some features into it, we need to use the name of the feature first and followed by the data type. So as of now, I'm going to create a feature, name it as a first name. It will accept a 20 elements into this. Okay, I just created one feature. I just assign a feature here, which is first name. After that, I'm going to assign a new feature for this, which is nothing but last name, by the way, and which is varchar. And I'm in this case, I'm just going to assign the same data type, which is varchar, which will accept 20 elements over here. Then after that, I'm going to use a course. I'm going to create a new feature, which is nothing but course. And for that also, I'm going to use the same data type, which is nothing but varchar, which is nothing but varchar. Sorry. Then after assigning a new feature, which is course, we need to mention a primary key. So the thing is, in this case, I'm going to create a composite key for now. I'm going to create a composite key. What is this meaning of composite key? We are about to discuss. Okay. So let's discuss about a composite key as of now. Okay. So composite key, which is nothing but a primary key. Whenever you are going to use a primary key for a multiple feature, for that key, we can say it is nothing but a composite key. So as of now, I'm going to assign a primary key for a two feature, which is nothing but first name and last name. First name and last name. And I'm just going to close this one. Okay, I'm just going to close this table. Once I create this table, if you just want to confirm that the table is existing in the database or not, we need to refresh our schemas. Once you refresh the schemas, then inside the table section, as you can see here, in the left side, we can see that table exists over here. To check that the structure and everything, we are having one spanner icon over here. If you click on that, then we can see the names of the features that we have. We can see we assign a primary key for two features, and we know that whenever we assign a primary key, automatically it will not accept null values. As we can see, it will not accept null values as of now. So, okay. So I'm just closing this for a second. I'm just closing this for a second. Yeah. I'm just closing. Yeah. Good evening, Ishwar. Yeah. I'm just closing this for a second. Yeah. So now, as we know, right? Suppose if I just want to confirm the structure of the table, now tell me which kind of query that I supposed to use over here. Yesterday, we used that for several times. So I want you to tell me if I just want to see the structure of this table.
DESC, sir.
Okay, that's correct. Okay, so we are going to use that. That's correct. That's absolutely correct, guys. Yeah, that's correct. Ishwar, absolutely correct. That's correct, Suganya. Absolutely correct. Yeah, absolutely correct. So I'm just going to use a function which is DESC followed by the table name, which is nothing but student. Once I execute that, then you can see the structure. You can see the structure over here. You can see the structure over here. The structure says that we are having a primary key over here for a first name and last name. We are having a primary key. We can see that in the structure, right? So basically, whenever we use a primary key, we know that once you use a primary key, we are not supposed to use a duplicate values into the table, right? We cannot add that. Whenever you try to add that, at that time, it throw an error to us. So let's dive into that. Let's understand that thing. So as of now, we just assign a primary key for a two table. Whenever you assign a primary key for a two table, we can say this is nothing but a composite key. This is nothing but composite key. We can say that, right? So whenever you assign a primary key for two tables, we can say that primary key as a composite key. Remember this point, okay? Just note this point. Okay, yeah. So after that, I'm going to add some features into it. I'm just going to, sorry, not features. I'm just going to add some record into it. So we know that, right? Whenever we just want to insert some records into this, we need to use insert function, right? Yeah, that's correct, Purnima. Insert function. So I'm just going to use insert into my table name, which is nothing but student, right? This is my table name. And in this case, we know that we can add the features with the help of the name. We can insert a record with the help of the features, right? So I'm just going to mention a features over here, like first name, last name, okay, followed by course, right? Followed by course. So I just mentioned the names of the features. Then we need to add some values into it, right? So the first, In this case, I'm just going to assign a name it as Ajay. Okay, Ajay. I just assign a first name for a student as Ajay and last name as a K. Okay, and the course that he enrolled, which is data analytics. Data analytics. Okay, I just mentioned that. Okay. Along with that, I'm just interested in to add a new record for a Vijay. Vijay. Okay. Let's take a name, surname it as a C, and he enrolled for a data science. Okay, enroll for the data science. So I just mentioned two features, and I'm just going to insert this particular query, insert this data into my table. So now I inserted the data into the table. Now tell me one thing. So we are having a table, right, which is student. Suppose if I just want to retrieve the data from this table, which is student, how I supposed to retrieve the data? Come on, mention that in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. It's all up to you. Yeah. Anyone? Suppose if I just want to fetch all the data. Sorry.
Select all from sir.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's absolutely correct. Yeah, that's perfect. Right? Yeah, Ishwar, Mahita, Purnima. Yeah, that's correct. That's absolutely correct. Gopi, absolutely correct. So I just need to use
student name.
Yeah, select all from student name.
Yes.
Yeah, student, which is table name, right? So I'm just going to mention that over here and semicolon. Once I execute that, we can see it shows the records to us, right? I added a record. I added a records here. And now I'm going to execute, I'm going to insert a new record here inside the table. Now, what if I execute this line, what do you think? Will it accept this record or it gives me the error? What do you think? Just mention that in the chat, everyone. I'm just waiting for a response. Come on, mention that in the chat. So what do you think? Come on, hurry up.
Any error.
Okay, any specific reason? Yeah, that's correct, Ishwa. Any specific reason?
It does not give any error, sir.
Not error. Okay, fine. Okay, not error. Okay. The thing is, I hope you guys forget here. We use a primary key, right? Whenever we use here in this case, we apply a primary key for a first name and last. Just mute yourself. Gopi. Yeah. So the thing is, here we assign a primary key for first name and last name. We know that whenever we apply a primary key, we cannot add a duplicate records into the table. Duplicate records, right? Duplicate records are not allowed. Right? Duplicate records are not allowed in this case. So if I already added a record for Ajay and I'm going to add the same record again in this particular table. So in that case, it throw an error to me, right? It shows an error to you can see that in the console section, right? Yeah, you can see that, and at the last part itself, it shows an error to me. It shows an error to me, duplicate entry Ajay K for a key student. That's why it's showing us the error. So the thing is, because I exclusively mention here a primary key for a first name and last name, just because of that, it throwing an error. So instead of that, if I add a new record, if I just mention another name over there, okay, another name Ajay, instead of Ajay, if I use Vijaya, or let's take a Vijaya over here, Vijaya H, okay, data analytics. If I execute that, it will accept that record over here. Will accept that record here because we assign a primary key here. And whenever we assign a primary key, it will not accept duplicate value. Always remember that. Always remember that. Yeah. Okay, fine. So then after that, so I'm just going to retrieve the data again. So we know that to retrieve the data, we need to use select all from table name. So once I execute this particular line, which will help me to fetch all the data from my table, which is student. So always remember that whenever we are going to use a primary key, we are not supposed to add a duplicate record into the table. Just remember this point, one of the important point that we just discussed, right? So just aware of these things. Okay, we just added a record and we use a primary key while creating the table. So that is the point. So, and always remember that if you are using a primary key for multiple features, then that key, we can consider it as a composite key. Always remember this point. Yeah. I
Yes,
hope this
sir.
point is clear. Yeah.
Once again, explain.
Sorry, Vinod, are you saying something?
Once again, explain about composite key.
Okay. I think you joined late, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry
So
for
try
that.
to be join the session on time. So I'll explain in the not detail in the just like
Next
in the
time I
brief.
will
Yeah.
work. Okay.
Yeah. The thing is
But
here I'm just about to explain. Just give me a second. Just mute yourself.
yes,
Okay. So I created a table here, which is nothing but student, where I mentioned first name, last name. I use a data type, it has varchar for all the points, all the features. And here I use a primary key for two features, first name and last name. So we know that if in a one table, we can use a primary key at a one time, right? We cannot use a primary key for multiple time into the table. So in this case, I use a primary key for a first name and last name right here. So that is the point. So I just use a primary key, and whenever you are using a primary key for multiple features, primary key for multiple feature, or multiple columns, then that key is nothing but composite key. That's it. Okay, this is nothing but composite key. Okay. Yeah. I hope this is clear now. Oh, fine. So then let's discuss the next point. So I just created a record. I added records into this and I check that whether the composite key it's working well or not, right? So then we are going to discuss about a new key, which is nothing but unique key, which is nothing but unique key. We are about to discuss, which is unique key, which is almost the same as a unique key. Okay, it will not allow a duplicate value, not allow duplicate values into the table, and it will accept null values. It accept null values. Okay, it accept null values. Okay, it accept null values. It will not allow duplicate value, accept null value, and we can use multiple unique key into the table. We can use multiple unique key into the table. That is the point that we have to understand first. So these are the points. Now let's dive into the unique key, how to apply a unique key. Let's check that. Let's discuss that. So let's create a unique key. Let's apply a unique key over here. Okay. Now, how to apply that? How to apply that? So I'm just going to create a table first. So I'm just going to create a table first. So here, I'm just about to create a table. So create table. I'm just creating a table name. Sorry. Yeah. Create table and table name in my case, which is email underscore reg. This is my table name, email underscore reg. This is my table name. And in this table, I'm assigning few features over here, like first name, data type, it has a varchar. Let's take a same, which is 20. Means it will accept a 20 alphabets for a name, for a first name. Then after that, last name, ln. Okay. Data type it as varchar. And I'm assigning a value, which is 20 over here, which is 20 over here. After that, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to add a new feature, which is nothing but email. For email, I'm going to assign a data type, which has a varchar 50, which means it will accept a 50 elements for a emails, for a 50 alphabets for a email. Okay. And I'm just going to assign a unique key over here. Unique key over here. And along with that, I'm going to assign a not null constraint so that it will not accept a null values. Not accept a null value. By default, unique key accept null values. Sorry. Okay. Then after that, I'm going to assign a phone number here. I'm going to assign a new feature, which is phone number. And the data type that I'm going to assign, which is big int. Big int is a data type that I'm going to use. And here I just mention a unique key. And along with the unique key, I mention a not null constraint so that it will not accept a null values. So, okay, I'm just closing this table as of now. I'm just closing this table. Once I close this, and if I just want to check the description of the table, we know that to see the structure of the table, we need to use the DESC function along with the name of the table. So my table name, which is nothing but emp_reg. This is my table name, right? This is my table name. I'm just using that over here to see the structure of the table. So once I execute that, sorry. Okay. What I did, I think sorry, my bad. My table name is email_reg. Sorry for this. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. Okay. So as of now, we can see this is my email name, right? This is my table name. Sorry. Yeah. This is the thing, right? So after that, we can see we are having email as a primary key and phone number as a unique key over here. The thing is, it's almost the same because here the thing is, if you are using a unique key, by default, unique key will accept a null values. Null values, right? Unique key accept a null values, but we don't want to unique key to accept null values. That's why I use a not null constraint. So whenever we use a unique key, along with that, if you are using a not null, this will convert unique key into primary key. Unique key into primary key that we can see here. Along with that, we are having a phone number where we are having a unique key, right? So now here, I'm going to insert some records into it. So we know that to insert a record, we need to mention insert into table name. My table name, which is nothing but email_reg, email_reg. And here in this case, I am just going to mention a names of my feature, which is first name, last name, email, and phone number. And phone number, NUM. Okay. And after mentioning that, I need some values here. So in this case, I'm just going to mention a name. Let's take a Ajay as a here. First name as Ajay. Let's take a last name as a any random name. Okay. T. Okay. After that, I'm assigning a mail here, which is nothing but Ajay@gmail.com. Okay. And after that, I'm going to mention a number over here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. I just mentioned a number over here and I'm just closing that for a second. Okay. And I'm just executing this line. Once I execute this line, and now if I just want to retrieve the data, we know that we need to write a query, which is select all from table name. My table name, which is email_reg. Sorry. Email_reg. I just execute that. You can see I'm having a record for a first name as Ajay, last name as a T, and email as ajay@gmail.com and phone number that I have here. Now, the next record that I'm going to add over here Okay. I'm just going to replace some value. Instead of Ajay, I'm going to mention a value it as a Vijay. Vijay, let's take it as a K. Now, let just I want to ask you one thing, right? Suppose if I execute this line, what do you think? This line execute well, or it give us an error to us? What do you
Shows
think?
error, sir.
It gives
It gives
errors.
error, sir.
Yeah, it's give us an error
Sir,
because
Gives error, sir.
yeah, that's absolutely correct. Perfect.
We
Absolutely
use
correct.
duplicates.
Yeah,
sir,
absolutely correct. So yeah, I just allow me a minute. So I just added a record with some sort of duplicate values into this table, right? Ajay at the gmail.com, which I already added into the table, right? And I'm adding the same thing again because while creating the table, I mentioned that email supposed to be for email, I use a unique key along with a not null. So ultimately it create a unique key to primary key. Okay. And here I mentioned the same email ID, which I used earlier. So that's why if I execute this line, it throw an error to me. It shows it give me the error. Okay. Right. It says that duplicate entries are not allowed. So I'm just going to change name over here, Vijay at the gmail.com, and I'm just going to change few numbers here. Okay. And I'm just going to execute that as of now. Now you can see it will accept the values into the table. That is the point, right? That is the point. So if I
sir,
read, yeah, just allow me a second. I'll give a chance. Just allow me a second. Yeah, I can see, you can see here, once I retrieve the data, we can see the records for a widget. Yeah. What was your question?
sir, what is the data type of a phone number, sir? BIGNT.
Big integer. We
Sir,
can use a big integer over there. Like you can see the number, no? You can use that.
sir, it accepts more numbers, sir.
Yes, you can say that.
Okay,
Yes. Okay.
thank
Yeah. Okay. So this is about a unique key. I hope this point of unique key is clear to all. Okay. So now, after that, we are going to discuss new things about auto increment. Okay. Let's dive into the next topic, next point, which is auto increment over here. So let's apply that. Let's discuss about auto increment. What is this meaning of auto increment? Let's discuss that. As the name suggests, right? Auto increment means we want some value which is supposed to be incremented automatically. So that's why we are going to use this function, which is auto increment, right? So the thing is here, we are going to discuss about auto increment. Auto increment. Okay. So now here, let's create a table first. Let's create a table. And along with that, you need to remember one small point, which is whenever you consider the auto increment can be defined on only one column, only one column, only one column, and that should be, and that should be a key column. That should be a key column. That should be a key column. So whenever we are going to apply a function called auto increment, we can apply that only on one column, and that should be on a key column. On a key column. That is the point. Okay. So now let's apply auto increment function. Let's apply that. So here I'm going to create a table over here. I'm going to create a table over here. My table name, which is nothing but EMP. I'm assigning my table name as a EMP, employee table, right? Employee. And here I'm going to assign the name of a feature which has employee ID, data type it as an integer, and I'm going to assign a primary key over here. I'm going to assign a primary key over here. Along with the primary key, I'm going to use a auto increment function. Auto increment function. Auto increment function. Okay, I just apply, I just created, I just assign one column. For that column, my data type, which is integer, and I assign a primary key and auto increment, right? Auto increment. Here, after mentioning that, I want a new feature along with that, which is employee name. So I just mentioned employee name. Employee name, suppose it's supposed to be a categorical data. For that purpose, I'm just going to use a varchar data type, which will accept the 20 elements over here, which accept the 20 elements over here. And now I'm just going to close this table. Close this table. We know that to see the structure, we need to use a describe or a DESC. And table name, in my case, my table name is EMP. Once I execute that, you can see in the describe function, the extra part, in extra part, we are having auto increment part, extra part over here as an auto increment, as an auto increment. That is the point. So now I'm going to add some records into this. I'm going to insert some record, insert into my table name, which is nothing but EMP. Okay, EMP. And here in this case, I'm just going to mention, instead of mentioning an employee ID, I'm going to mention an employee name directly over here. Employee name directly over here. And for that, I'm going to assign values over here. Okay, let's take a name. It as AAA for a first record, second record as a BBB, third record, let's take it as a CCC. Okay, CCC. And I'm just going to close this. Once I close this, once I execute this, and now we can retrieve the data over here. So I need to use select all from my table name, which is EMP, employee. Right? Once I execute this line, then we can see the records over here from the employee table. We haven't applied a employee ID over here. We just directly mention an employee name, AAA, BBB, and CCC, and then we just retrieve the data from our table. You can see it shows the details over here, right? It shows the detail. By default, here, employee ID, which started from 1. Started from 1, as you can see. As you can see over here. Okay. Suppose if I added more records into it, then let's add more record into it. So I'm just going to mention insert into table name, which is employee. Just sorry. Yeah, just allow me a second. Okay, yeah. I'm going to mention a name. Yeah. I'm going to mention an employee name here. Sorry for this. Yeah. Employee name. And for that, I'm going to mention a values over here. Let's add a new values, which is DDD, new record, EEE, and that's it. I'm going to add 2 more records here. Okay. And after that, I'm going to use select all from employee, EMP. So once I execute that, you can see it shows all the records over here. It shows the all records over here. All records over here. Then after that, here, I'm going to drop this table. After creating this, I'm going to drop this table, which I created. Drop table, table name, which is employee, which will help us to drop the table as of now, which will help us to drop the table. I just dropped the table. I just dropped the table over here. Okay. And then after that, what I'm going to do over here, that is the thing. Okay, I drop that. Then let's create another table, the same name, create table employee, where I'm going to add a few features like employee ID, data type it as integer, Along with that, I'm going to mention a primary key. And along with that, I'm going to use auto-increment function. Auto-increment function. And along with that, I'm going to insert one more feature over here. Okay, let's keep that simple. Let's keep that simple. So I just assign over here. I assign one column over here, which is employee ID. For that purpose, I mention a primary key and auto increment. Now I'm going to execute this. Execute this. I am just going to execute this as of now. And now, after that, what I'm going to do over here. Okay. So now, let me, sorry, I just missed one thing. I just need to add the record. Sorry for that. So I need one more feature over here. Employee name. Yeah. So I'm just going to create the same table. Along with that, I need a employee name. Okay. Data type it as a varchar. For it, it will accept 20 elements. Okay. So I'm just going to create this one. Once I create, and then if I just want to see the structure of the table, we need to use DESC function. DESC employee EMP. Then we can see it shows the description or structure of the table. Now, we know that whenever we use the auto increment function, automatically it start employee ID with a 1. 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth, right? But what if I want to use auto increment function with the ID as a 1, not 1, then how we are going to use? We need to alter the table first, right? So for that purpose, we need to use alter table, table name it as EMP. Then we need to mention auto increment. We need to mention auto increment. Auto increment equals to 101. Equals to 101. Once we mention a 101, and if I execute that, automatically it will update the auto incremented function from 1 to 101. Now it's going to start from 101. Now it's going to start from 101. That is the point. So now what if I insert some records over here? I'm going to insert a record, insert into EMP. So now I'm not going to mention a employee ID here. I'm directly mentioning the name, another feature name, which is EMP underscore name. Okay. And for that, I'm going to mention a values. So employee name, insert into table, employee name. I'm going to assign a value, let it as AAA. Okay. Then along with that, I'm going to add a new record for a BBB. Okay. And for a CCC. And I'm just going to execute that. Once I execute that, then we need to use select all from table, which is EMP. Once you execute that, it shows all the records from the table. Then you can see the employee ID, which is starting from now, which is starting from 101 as of now. You can see that, right? Earlier we created the table. We apply an employee ID, data type, which is integer, primary key, and along with that, we apply auto increment function. Then we apply a new feature, which is varchar 20, which will accept 20 elements as a first name, up to 20 elements as a first name. Then we alter the table to set auto increment function from 0, like 1, 0, 1 to 101. Means we just change auto increment function from 1 to 101. And then we added a records over here. Once we added a record, then we retrieve the data. So to confirm that our employee ID, which is starting from 101 or not. So we can see that. We just see the thing here. I hope this is a little bit clear to all. Yeah.
Sir,
Yes, please.
sir, I'm facing some issue. Like employee name, I'm entering multiple names. It's not accepting, sir. Like error is coming.
Okay. Could you please share your table in the chat?
Sir, I will tell error name, sir. Can you explain?
Yeah. Do one thing. Which application, which software that you're using as of now?
Sir, MySQL, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Do one thing.
Column count does not match value count
Okay.
at row 1. It's coming error, sir. How to solve it?
Yeah. The thing is, as of now, the table that you mentioned, no,
Yes, sir.
the count, the feature name, while inserting a features, while inserting a records at that time, you not mention the names properly and values properly. That's why it's giving you that error.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Mention the names, mention the feature names properly, and count the count the numbers, count the values properly based on the names of the features. Then automatically it will accept your values. Okay, just check that.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So this is about auto-incremented function. Now let's discuss about the next point. Let's discuss about the next point. Yeah. Let's discuss about the next point. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Just allow me a second. I'm just reading your comments. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Okay. Yeah. So then, yeah. Hi, everyone. Okay.
Sir.
So now, yes.
Hello. Sir, error is still coming, sir.
Just share. Do one thing. Whichever the table that you created, just copy that, paste into the chat so that I can copy and explain you here on my screen.
Sir, chat box is not available to me, sir.
Yeah.
Disable.
Just try now. Just share your code now. The thing is, this video is available for you. Okay. You can watch that later if you want. Just copy and paste into the chat. I already gave you access. Okay, fine. But along with that, send me a table, no? How I supposed to randomly add values here? Send me a table and insert query both at the same time. Okay. Okay, I'll tell you that later. Okay, so Kanya. Okay, yeah. I'm saying I want you to share the table first so that I can explain you properly.
Sir, she mistakenly.
Yeah, I need to check
She,
that, no? I
she missed
understand that.
brackets.
I understand that, but I need to check the table first. Then and then only I can say no. Yeah. Share me, please share the table. I totally understand that. I need to see the table first. We need to find out the root cause first, then and then only we can provide a solution, right?
I will join the class in phone, sir. Now I'm
Sorry?
joining the class laptop.
As per your, I'll tell you one thing, which kind of mistake that you are doing right now. Okay. The thing is, you are adding a multiple values at the same time. So do one thing, just I'll tell you one thing. Okay. The thing is, you need to add a bracket over there after AA. Okay, after AA, you need to add a bracket and then give a comma, then use another bracket.
Okay, sir.
Okay. I know that, Varshita. I'm just checking. Whenever you work on anything, no, like don't give directly medicine. You need to find out the root cause first, and then only you can see the right. Then and then only you can give the medicine, right? Don't give medicine without prescription. Don't give directly medicine, right? Just find out the root cause first, and then only. We are a data analyst, right? Data analyst, data scientist. We need to find out the root cause first, and then only we can give the solution, not randomly. We are not a babas, right? We are data scientists. Yeah. Okay. Fine. So then okay, I'm just ignoring chat for now. I need to complete this as of now. Okay, I have to complete the lot of things over here. Yeah. Okay, I'll explain that as of now. Just allow me a few more minutes. I have to complete this first. I'll give some sort of additional time from my end to rectify your queries. So that's my request to you guys. So yeah. So let me finish. I'm having a lot of questions in my chat. I'm not able to let all the chats at the same time. So yeah. Okay. So now let's discuss next thing here, which is foreign key. Let's discuss about a foreign key now. Let's discuss about a foreign key. So now, to use a foreign key, let's create a table first. Okay. So I'm going to create a department table with the name of all department in the company. So here, I'm going to create a table first. My table name is department. My table name is department over here. Department. And in this department table, I'm just assigning few features over here, like department name, DEPT underscore name, data type, it has a varchar 30, varchar 30, department name as varchar 30. Along with that, I'm going to mention a primary key over here. I'm going to mention primary key over here. After that, I'm going to create a new feature over here, which is department underscore head, DEPT underscore head here. And for that, I'm going to mention a varchar data type, and it will accept 30 elements. It will accept 30 elements. And after that, I am going to close this table for a second. So I'm just about to create this table. I just created the table. We know that to see the structure, we need to use a describe function and a department, which is the table name, right? I'm just going to mention the department, which is my table name. Once I execute that, you can see we are having two features as of now, where I can see the structure, department name, department has, where I'm having a varchar 30 as a data type, not null, and a key that I assign for a department name only. Key that I assign for a department name only. That is the point. Now here, I'm going to insert some records over here. I'm going to insert some records over here. Now I need to use a query which is still insert into my department, my table name. Then I need to mention a features over here, like what department name. Along with that, I need to mention department underscore head. And then I need to mention a values over here. I'm going to mention a values. I'll answer your question. Just allow me a minute. I'm having only one screen as of now and two hands only. Okay. So it will take a lot of time to manage all this thing at the same time. So just allow me a minute. Let me finish this and I'll address your questions. Okay. So as of now, I'm inserting some values here. Okay, values as a first department as a IT. Okay, department is it as a IT and department head as a Ravi Kiran. As a Ravi Kiran. Then second record it as a department as a finance. And department, I'm not going to mention a department name. Let's take a null value here. Let's take a, just allow me a second, null value. Then after that, I'm going to add a new another record. Let's take a department as a HR. Let's take a department as a HR. And now let's take a name of a department head it as Swati Rao. Let's take a name it as a Swati Rao. Let's take that. Let's take that. Let's take that. So I just mentioned a department head it as Swati Rao. Okay. And I'm just going to execute this line. I'm just going to execute this line as of now. And after that, after executing this, I need to mention a query which is select all from my department, which is my table name. Allow me a minute. I already said that. Just allow me a minute. I'm just about to write some queries. Once I finish, I'll address your questions. So as of now, I'm having this table. Okay, finance as a null, department head as a null, HR Swati Rao, IT as a Ravi Kiran, IT as a, yeah. So the thing is, guys, I'll address your question. Just I'm going to disable your chat. Okay, you are going to send me the questions and you are sending the same thing in the chat. I'm going to disable the chat. Okay, if you're doing the same thing, basically whenever I write something, it pop up on my screen. So don't chat personal things here. Okay, in the chat section. Just if you're interested into watching this thing, no, just wait for a while. I'll address your question and query. Okay, don't do these things. Okay, I'm disabling this chat as of now. If you want me to disable, just let me know. Okay, so I just use select all from department. Okay, I just use select all from department over here. After that, what I'm going to do here, just give me a second. Yeah, I'm just going to disable this chat. Okay, you guys sending a random messages. I already explained a composite key, guys. Come on. You have to be a session on time. Okay, I already explained composite key. I discussed that at like 6:30 sharp. You're asking the question at around 7:30. This is not the proper way. Yeah. So after that, I just created this one. Then I'm going to create a new table as of now. I'm going to create a new table. Create table, which is nothing but employee. Okay. Create table as an employee. Then I am just going to use ID over here. I'm going to use a first feature as a ID. Data type it as an integer. Along with that, I'm going to use auto-increment function. Auto-increment function. And along with that, I'm just going to use a primary key. I use a primary key over here. Followed by, I'm going to assign a first name. Data type it as varchar. Then along with that, I'm going to assign a not null constraint. Then after that, last name, data type it as a varchar. Let's take a value it as a 20. Then I'm going to mention a not null constraint over here. Not null constraint. After that, I'm going to add one more record into it, which is age. Age it as an integer and not null constraint over here. I'm just going to add a not null constraint, followed by I'm going to add a location over here. Data type it as a varchar 20. It will not accept duplicate not null values, not null. Along with that, I'm going to use a default constraint here. Default value it as a Hyderabad. Default value it as a Hyderabad. And then department, I'm going to use DEPT over here. And for that, I'm going to mention a data type it as varchar 20. varchar 20. And along with that, I'm going to mention a data, not null constraint over here. And I'm going to close this one. I'm going to close this one over here. Okay. Okay. So now I'm just executing this. I just created a table, which is employee. Yeah. Okay, fine. I need to drop the table first because I had this table once. So drop table. EMP over here. I'm just dropping this table for ease of understanding. And then I'm creating this table again. So I just created this table. After creating this table, I need to insert some records into it. So insert into table name, which is EMP. And then I need to mention first name, last name, age, department. Okay. And for that, I'm going to assign some values over here. Values over here. The first one, which is the first name, it has a Mohan. Last name, it has a Bhargav. Last name, it has a Bhargav. Then after that, let's take a department. Let's take a age, it has a 30. Department, it has a IT over here. Okay. IT over here. And then next record, which is for Manoj. Okay. First name, it has Manoj. Last name, it has Bajpai. Last name, it has Bajpai. Age, it has a 35. And department as a HR. Department as a HR. Then the next record that I need. So I'm just going to add here. So the next record, which is first name, it has Rani. Last name, it has Kumari. Last name, it has Kumari. Then age, it has 40. Age, it has 40 over here. Rani. Last name, it has Kumari. Then age, it has 40. And department, it has a finance. Okay. Department as a financier here. And now I'm going to execute this. Once I execute this, as of now, I'm having a data into my table, which is employee. So now I need to retrieve the data, select all from my table name, which is nothing but EMP. So I'm just going to execute that. Once I execute, it shows me all the data over here. All the data over here. After that, after adding a records here, as you can see, I'm having a records as of now on your screen, as you can see. Then I need a more records over here. So I'm just inserting a record, insert into employee, which is my table name, EMP. And here in this case, I'm going to mention a first name, last name. After that, age, then department. Okay, department. And here I'm going to add some values over here. I'm going to add a values. And here I'm having a name, it has first name as a Priya. Last name as a Darshini. Last name as a Darshini. Age as a 30. And department as a healthcare. Department as a healthcare. I'm just going to execute that as of now. Okay. Insert into first name, last name. Yeah. First name, everything is fine. Yeah. Just let me add one comma over here. Yeah. So once I execute this, it will add a record into the table. So as of now, if I just mention select all from EMP, you can see it shows me the records from the EMP. That is the point. You can see we are having a record, which is healthcare. Okay. And now after that, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to add a foreign key constraint here. Now I'm going to add foreign key constraint here. I'm adding a foreign key. Adding foreign key over here, foreign key. So how to add that? In this case, I'm going to alter my table. I'm altering my table. I'm altering a table which is nothing but emp employee, and then I'm adding a foreign key constraint over here. Foreign key. I'm adding a foreign key constraint, and I'm just saying that just consider department as a foreign key and refer it as a reference it as from a department table with a department name. The department name. So I'm just going to execute that. But before that, a reference says I guess, yeah, references, yeah. So before that, let me tell you one thing. Earlier I had a table here, which was a department, right? Which was a department. In that department, I'm having this record, right? Department name, height, everything was there. So now I added a, so I need to add this foreign key here. Once I add that, okay, once I add that, it throw an error. It throw an error because here in this case, we are adding a record. Okay, we need to delete all incorrect entries from an employee table. Then and then only we can add a foreign key constraint. So as of now, I'm going to delete a record here from employee table. So I'm just mentioning a delete all, sorry, delete from employee. Yeah, Varshita, just mute yourself. Delete from employee. Yeah, delete from employee where department not in HR department, not in HR, IT and finance. IT and finance. Okay, IT and finance. Delete all from employee where department not in IT, HR and finance. And then I'm just going to use this. So I'm just deleting the employee whose department not belongs to HR, IT and finance. Basically what I'm going to do here, I'm going to delete a record of Darshini here. So I'm just going to execute that. Sorry. Yeah, I'm in the safe mode. So I need to disable my safe mode. So we know that to disable the safe mode, we need to use set SQL underscore safe underscore updates. Once you use that, okay, assign a 0 here so that it will disable this one. So after disabling this, I need to delete a record. So I'm just going to delete that. So as of now, if I just retrieve the data from employee, select all from employee here. Once I execute that, at that time, you can see I'm having a records only from HR, IT and finance. We drop a record of Darshini here, Priya Darshini here. We drop that. Now, what we are going to do, after dropping this, I need to check a structure here, DESC of EMP, which is my table name. So once I execute that, you can see, okay, this is my structure of my table. And along with that, I need to alter my table. I need to add this one, and I need to check the structure. I need to change the structure, see the structure over here. As of now, you can see here, I just assign a foreign key here, multi. Whenever you see a key as a mul, basically we are trying to say that we just inserted a foreign key over here. We just added a foreign key. We just trying to link one table to another over here. One table to another over here. Then after that, what I'm going to do here, after retrieving the data, after seeing the structure of the table, I'm going to add the same record as of now. So insert into my table name, which is nothing but employee. After that, I need to mention inside the table, I need to mention first name, last name. Okay, first name, last name, age, and department. Okay. And I'm going to assign a values over here. In that, I'm going to mention a records like first name, it has a Priya. Okay. Last name, it has a Darshini. Okay. Last name, it has a Darshini. And then I'm going to assign an age as a 30 and along with that department as a healthcare. Department as a healthcare. Once I execute that, then after retrieving, sorry, cannot add a child. Okay. Foreign key. Okay. The thing is, I'm having a, okay, fine. Because here in this case, I'm adding a records into the child rows, right? I'm adding that into child row. And because if you see the structure, right? If you see that I'm not having a healthcare department here because I'm not having a healthcare department here. That's why it's showing the error. So in this case, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to change this department as a healthcare to something else. So here I'm in this case, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to consider this one. And here, instead of this healthcare, I'm going to mention a department as a HR over here. Department as the HR. Once I execute that, now it worked well. So we just added a record over here. Now, if you are retrieving the data, then we can see the data over there for Darshini. So I'm just going to use select all from EMP over here. Once I execute that, then we can see the structure. We can see the table here. We are having a Priyadarshini, age as 30, location as Hyderabad, and department as a HR. So we use this one. I hope this is a little bit clear. So now the thing is, we just apply a foreign key. So do one thing. So whenever you get a time, just try to type this code, try to type this query, then you'll get more clarity. You'll get more clarity which kind of topic that I discussed here. So the thing is, we discuss about the foreign key. Just basically, whenever you consider the foreign key, we just use a foreign key to link one table to another table. That is the use of foreign key. That is the use of foreign key. So now let's dive into the check constraint. Let's dive into the check constraint as of now. Let's dive into the check constraint. Let's dive into the check constraint. What is the use of check constraint? What is the use of check constraint? We are going to discuss that as of now. So the thing is, whenever we just want to check the content, whenever you are going to add some records, whenever you are going to add some record, at that time you are going to mention some condition. If that condition satisfy, if in this case, in terms of check constraint, if you are adding some record, if you are inserting record into the table, and while creating a table, you added one condition. You added a condition over there. If you added a condition, that condition which is nothing but check constraint. Check that condition which is nothing but check constraint. Check constraint. Check constraint. That is the point. So now let's discuss about the check constraint now. Let's discuss about the check constraint. So here, in this case, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to create a table here. I'm going to create a table over here. So the thing is, I'm creating a table. So for that, I need to use create a table and my table name, which is nothing but school. Which is nothing but school. I'm just about to create a table, which is nothing but school. And after that, in this case, I'm just going to mention the first feature, which is name. And for that, I'm going to mention a data type. It has a varchar. Varchar, let's take a varchar as a 20. That means for a name, it will accept 20 elements over here. For a name, it will accept 20 elements over here. And after that, I'm going to assign a name for a school. For a school name is supposed to be a categorical data. For that purpose, we need to use a varchar data type. So varchar 20. I just assign a data type. It has varchar 20. And here I'm going to mention a default school as a 360DigiTMG. 360DigiTMG. And after that, here, after mentioning a school name, then I'm going to assign age here. Age is integer. I'm going to assign age, a new feature, it has age, and the data type for that age feature is integer. And then I'm going to use a check constraint over here. Check, check, check. Age supposed to be a greater than equals to 10. Then and then only it will accept the records into the table. Then and then only it will accept the record. What I did here, I just created a, I'm just about to create a table, which is school. In that I mention a name, school name, age, and the check constraint. It will accept those students only whose age is greater than 10, whose age is greater than 10. That is the point. So here in this case, I'm just going to create this one. Once I create this, now if I just check the description or the structure of the table, okay, so I need DESC function, DESC function, and the table name, in our case, table name, which is nothing but school. Once I execute that, it gives us a structure of the table. It gives us the structure of the table. It gives us the structure of the table. Yeah. Okay. Now, after that, as you can see, the default constraint, default value that we assigned for a school, which is 360DigiTMG, which is 360DigiTMG over here. After that, what we are going to do, I'm going to insert some records. So for that purpose, we need to use insert into table name. My table name, which is nothing but school. So I'm just going to insert data into my table, which is school. After that, in this case, I need a name. Okay, inside the school table, I need to mention the name of the student. See here, I created the feature, right? Name and school name. So I need to use that over here. So I mention a school, I may mention a name here. Then I need to mention the next feature, which is nothing but school name. And after that, okay, yeah, no, not needed. There is no need to mention that school name because I use the school name, it has a 360DMG as a default, right? As a default. No, not really. It's all up to you, right, Nivedita? Because whenever you use DESC, it will help us to identify the structure of the table. So if you use that DESC, then it will help you to understand the data. That's it. That's why I use several times. Okay. Yeah. Okay, fine. So then I mention insert into because I want this table. I want some records into the table. So I mention a name. Then I already mentioned that default value for a school name, it has a 360DMG. So that I'm not going to mention the school name here directly. Here in this case, I'm just going to mention an age. I'm going to mention age over here. Then in this case, I'm just going to mention some values. The first name that I want here, which is Ram. Okay. Then after that, I'm going to assign an age, it has a 10. And this is my first record. And for the second record that I'm going to assign a name, it has Ravi over here. And then 20. Age, it has a 20. Now I'm going to execute that. See here, when we define a table, at that time we use a check constraint. We exclusively mention that age is supposed to be greater than or equals to 10. Age supposed to greater than or equals to 10. So here, while inserting the records into the table, I mentioned that age r, which is equals to and greater than 10, right? So in this case, once I execute that, it will insert a record into the table. Insert a record into the table. And then if you retrieve the data from the table, which is select all from our table, which is school, okay, then you can see that the data from the table. School name by default, we consider it as a 360DigiTMG. After that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to add new records into the same, right? So here in this case, I'm just going to use the same thing with a different names. Okay. So here I'm going to use first name, name it as a Priya. Let's name it as a Priya. And age it as 18. age it as a 18, or age that I mentioned here as a 18. So here in this case, I'm just going to add new records into the table. I exclusively mention here age is greater than equals to 10. Age is greater than equals to 10. So once I execute that, okay, it will accept the record because the age value that I mentioned here, which is greater than 10, right? Greater than 10. That's why it's accepting the value. But and if you retrieve the data again from this table, okay, if I retrieve the data from table, you can see the pre as record which is present in the table. Now let's add a new one more records here. Let's add one more records here. In this case, what I'm going to do, I'm going to mention name it as Ajay, and here for Ajay I'm going to assign age it as let's take a 6, let's take a 9. And here whenever I execute this thing, it throw an error, because here while assigning a table, while creating a table, I mentioned that a check constraint here is supposed to be greater than equals to 10, but here in this case I mention a age it as a 9, which is not greater than or equals to 10, which is less than 10. That's why it's showing us the error. It says that check constraint school check 1 is violated. That is the point that we understand. Okay, that is the point. Okay. Yeah, that's perfect. That's correct, Purnima. Absolutely correct. It throw an error to us because age value, which is not greater than equals to 10, which is less than, that's why it's throwing an error to us. So that is the point. Now, let's discuss the next thing now. Let's discuss that. Okay. So yeah, so this is about a constraint. We discuss about a constraint. We discuss as of now. We discuss about a primary key. We discuss about unique key. We discuss about not null constraint. We discuss about foreign key. We discuss about check constraint. Okay. We use this examples. Okay, we use these examples. Yeah. Along with that, I need a lot of example. So let's dive into that. So before that, okay, yeah, just allow me a second. Okay. So as of now, I'm having I need a new table now. I need a new table. I want you to show something to you guys. So let's, as of now, I'm going to discuss about the clauses. So as of now, I'm going to discuss about the clauses. There are different clauses over there. Like we are having a distinct. Okay. We are having a order by. We are having a order by. We are having a limit. We are having a limit. We are having a group by. We are having a group by. Along with the group by, we are having a having clause. And we are having aggregated function. Aggregated functions. Function in the sense like addition, like sum, minimum, right? Minimum, maximum, those kind of functions, which is the part of aggregate function. So now we are about to discuss this thing, which is clauses. So now let's dive into this. So as of now, I'm having a table which is employee. So I need to drop that employee table first. But before that, let me check whether that employee table is exists in my database or not. Yes, I'm having this table. So I need to drop that table for a second. So I'm just dropping my table, which is nothing but EMP. Yes, Chitti? Yeah. So okay, fine. Yeah. So I just dropped this table, which is employee as of now. And then here, I'm going to create a table. I'm going to create a table here. Table name it as employee over here. And after that, here in this case, I'm going to mention a features like ID. And here in this case, I'm going to mention a data type it as a serial. Serial like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on and so forth. We are using the same thing here. Serial. Along with this data type, I'm going to use a primary key. I'm going to use a primary key over here. I'm going to use a primary key, so that ID is supposed to be a unique in this case. After that, I'm going to mention a first name. We know that first name is a categorical data, so we need to use a varchar data type. So it will accept 20 alphabets. So here 20 alphabets, and along with that I'm going to use a not null constraint, so that it will not accept null values inside the table. Okay, then I need a last name, so I'm just using L_nm. We know that data types for a categorical data, a categorical column, it's supposed to be a varchar. So it will also accept a 20 elements. So here it also accept a 20 elements here, and here also I'm going to use a not null constraint. Here also I'm going to use a not null constraint. Then I need an age here. I need age, and for age I'm going to assign a data type. It has an integer, and along with that I'm going to use a not null constraint. Not null constraint. After that, I'm going to use a location and department table, location and department feature. So I'm just going to use a location data type for this as a varchar. Okay, varchar, it will accept 20 elements. And here also I'm going to use a not null constraint. And here I'll take a location, it has a Hyderabad. So I'm just going to consider a default location as Hyderabad. Okay, so after that, I need a new feature here, which is nothing but department. Department is a categorical data, right? So I need a data type, it has a varchar and 20. Varchar, department as a varchar and 20. Along with that, I need a not null constraint, and I'm just closing this data as of now. Closing this table as of now. So I'm just going to create this table. Once I create this table, we know that with the help of the describe function or DESC, we can see the structure of the table, which is EMP. Okay, as of now, we are having multiple features over here, multiple features. Yeah. Okay. Why to use a not null if you give a default value? Because in some cases, okay, there is a known, if you not mention that, doesn't matter. Okay. If you not mention not null, that is also fine. But as of now, I mentioned that if you are ignoring that, that is totally fine. Okay, you can ignore that. Not null, if you not mention a not null here while creating the table, then you can ignore that. That is your choice, right? If you want to include that, you can include. Otherwise, you can ignore that. Okay, okay, Priyanka. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So then, so as of now, I need to add a few records into this. I need to add. Okay. So the thing is, whenever, why I add that? Because suppose serial in this case, whenever you use a serial, we know that serial, which means like in this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Suppose, okay, someone try to add, no, someone want to add a new record into the table. At that time, while inserting, he mentioned 1. Okay, while inserting he mentioned 1. And if you are trying to add a records, just mute yourself. I'm just about to explain this. Yeah. About to explain this. Then, okay. So at that time, if someone mentioned 1 and it will add some records, it will accept that. Okay. Yeah. So where I was, sorry, I want. Yeah, just mute yourself, guys. I'm just about to explain few things. Manideepa, mute yourself, please. Yeah. Okay, fine. So then, where I was, yeah. So as of now, I use a serial, right? Serial, along with the serial, I use a primary key, because whenever you use a serial, and if you are adding a primary, key into it, suppose whenever you use a serial, at that time it give you the record. It will give you the record based on the data. But if you are using a primary key, the primary purpose of primary key, which will not accept a null values, and the duplicate values. There are chances, no, after updating the structure, someone can add a records into the table. To avoid that case, I'm just using a primary key over here. I'm just using a primary key. In some cases, someone tried to update the same record with the same ID. To avoid that error, I just use a primary key over here. I just use the primary key over here. That is the point. Okay, that's why I use a primary key over here. To avoid, yeah, Raymond, please mute yourself. Yeah, to avoid that unredundancy like error in my table, that's why I use a primary key over here. Okay, that is the use. Okay. You can use that, Nivjita. I already explained with the 101. Okay. I already explained you that with the 101. Okay. You can apply that. So whenever you increment, right? So in that case, instead of serial, you can use auto increment function. And after adding a table, you need to mention that alter table auto increment equals to 101 or 501. Then automatically it will help you to see the ID from 501. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So where I was, okay, I just created the table. I find out the structure of the table, and then I need some records into the table. I need some records. So I'm just going to insert some records here. Okay. So here in this case, if I want to add a salary here, I forgot here to mention a salary, right? I'm just using an employee table without a salary feature into it. So how to add a feature here? So in this case, I'm just going to mention, I'm going to enter alter table employee. Just mute yourself, guys. Alter table EMP. Okay. Add a salary. Add a salary. Data type it as a real and not null constraint. Yeah, not null constraint. So I'm just adding a new feature here, which is salary in the table. I use the data type it as a real, so it will accept both float and integer values as a salary. So I just updated, I just altered my table. I added a record here, which is salary. And now I'm just going to see the structure. And in this case, I'm having a salary here, salary feature over here. You can see that salary feature over here. You can see that. So now, after that, I'm going to insert some record into my table. Insert into EMP. I need to mention the names here. I need to mention a name. So here, in this case, I'm just going to mention first name, last name. Okay. First name, last name. I'm not mentioning location here. Okay. But before that, I need an age also. Age. I'm not going to mention a location here because by default, I use a location it as a Hyderabad. So I just use that. That's why I'm not including location it as a Hyderabad. So yeah. So age, after that, after mentioning a age, I need a department. I need a department here. So I'm just going to mention the same here, department feature, and followed by salary, because I added a salary feature, right? I added a salary feature here. So that's why I'm just mentioning a salary way. That's why I'm mentioning a salary. Then I need some values here. I need a values here. So I'm just about to add values over here. About to add. Yes, the thing is, if you are using a real, no, so salary could be like salary. You can consider it as a float number, right? You can say that 50,000, 50%. You can say that, right? Right? It will accept both. It will accept float value and integer. It will accept both. That's why I use a real here. Okay. Yeah. So I'm just inserting the records here. First name, let's add a new record here. Let's take a first name, it has a Ravi. Okay. First name, it has a Ravi. Last name, it has Kiran. Last name, it has a Kiran. And then age, let's take a age, it has 25. And department, let's take a department as a HR. And let's take a salary, it has a 50,000. Let's take a salary as a 50,000. Then I need a more records here. Okay, I need a more record. So I'm just going to add more records here. Let's take another record. Let's take another record. So I'm just taking few more records into this. The first name that I have, which is, let's take first name as a Priya. Last name as a Darshini. Okay. Let's take a here age as a 26, salary it as 80,000. Okay. The next record, let's take a first name it as Ajay, last name it as K. Okay. Age as 22, salary it as 75,000. Okay. 75,000. Similarly, I'm adding more records into this. Okay. Yeah. I need a Vijay record. So I'm just adding a Vijay. Vijay. Let's take a Vijay, and yeah, along with that, I need a last name. So I'm just adding a C here. Then age it has a 29. Salary it has a 87,000. Okay. And I'm just going to execute this as of now. Yeah, I'm just going to execute this as of now. Once I execute this, yeah, account it says, I think I missed few things, right? Yeah, let me check. First name, last name, age, department. Oh, I forgot to mention department here, right? I need to mention department. So I'm just going to mention department here. Let's take it as a HR. And then comma. Let's take it as IT. Department as IT. Comma. Then let's take a department as IT. Comma. Okay. And now I'm just going to execute this. Now it's work, right? So I just inserted a record into this, and now I need to mention select all from my table name, which is EMP, employee. I just execute that. I just execute. As of now, you can see we are having records here. We are having a records. Now let's discuss about a distinct record. Yeah, let's discuss about the distinct record as of now. Sorry, what you're trying to say?
No, sir. Nothing.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So I just added a record here. Along with that, Raymond, please mute yourself. So along with that, I'm going to add a few more records into this. Okay. Just mute yourself, Raymond. Yeah. So I'm just going to insert a record into it. Insert into. I'll copy this one first. Just allow me a second. Yeah. So I'm just going to mention here. First name it has. Let's take a Raymond. Yeah. I just mentioned a name it as Raven. Then after that, I'm just going to mention randomly name it as last name it as K, age it as 25, and yeah, age it as 25, and department, let's take IT. Okay, and salary, let's take a salary it as 80,000. 80,000. Salary it as 80,000. Along with that, what I'm going to do after age, I'm going to mention a location over here. Location here. I need a location here. So after age, I'm just going to mention a location it as, let's take a Chennai. I'm just going to mention a comma here. And after that, I need a more value. So I'm going to use more value here. First name it as Ravi. So last name it as Teja. Okay. Age as 26. Location as Chennai. Let's talk about Chennai. Bangalore. Okay. Location as a Bangalore. Department as IT. And salary as a 89,000. Yeah, 89,000. Once I execute that, I just inserted a record now. And now if I retrieve the data from the table, okay, we can see the data here. You can see the data. Now I want a distinct location here. I want a distinct location from the table. I want a distinct location, unique location from this table. I want a distinct location. How to find out a distinct location? Let's check that. So here I'm having a table which is employee. So here in this case, what I'm going to do, first thing, if I mention select location from my table, which is nothing but EMP, which give me a location only, right? Hyderabad, Chennai, Bangalore, right? But these locations are not distinct in way, right? These locations are not distinct. So to make the data distinct, to make the location distinct, we need to mention select distinct location from my table, which is EMP. If I mention that, you can see it gave us a distinct location as of now. But what if I want to count the distinct location, how many distinct location are there? Then we need to use select count function, and inside the count function, we need to mention distinct location, so that it give me a count, so that it give us a count how many distinct location are there in this employee table. So once I execute this, it give me a distinct record. The distinct location are 3 over here. We are having a distinct location as a 3. So we can see that. So we find out that there are 3 distinct records, distinct locations are there, like Chennai, Hyderabad, and Bangalore. To count that, to get the exact number of distinct location, we use a count function. And inside a count function, we mention a distinct location so that it gives us a distinct location, exact count. What if I just want to assign an aliasing name? See here, in this case, these names that you are seeing right now, which is not properly aligned. So if I want a proper name here, in that case, I need to use a function called as, and I'm going to mention count of location. See here, what I did here, as of now, if you see this name which is not properly aligned, I need a name in the proper way. So I use an aliasing name here. Instead of this, I assign an aliasing name. It has a count of location. Once I execute that, you can see now we change the name in this way, count of location over here, That is the point that we have to understand. Okay. So I assign an aliasing name for a distinct location as a count of location, or you can say number of location, count of location. That is the point. That is the point that we need to understand. Unique means there is no repetitive values. Okay. So that is the thing. So distinct function is used to identify the data in distinct way, in unique way. That is the use of distinct. Now, what if I just want to see the data? If I want to sort out the data, then what if I just want to sort out the data? How to sort out the data first? So we are to sort out the data, we are having a function called order by. To sort out the data, we are having a function called order by. Okay, we are about to discuss this. So, but before that, let me retrieve the data first from my table. So I'm having a data in employee table, which is this. Okay, I'm having a data in employee table, which is this. So what if I want to see only first name, salary, and department? How to see that? Suppose I'm interested in to see the record. Instead of this entire table, I want 3 features only: first name, salary, and department. So in this case, how to retrieve the data? I need to mention select first name, salary, and department from my table name, which is nothing but EMP. So if I just execute that, it gives us only 3 features: first name, salary, and department. So if I execute that, you can see it gives us only records related to this three features, related to this three features only, this three features only. Now, I want to see the data. I want to see the data. I want to see the name of the employee, whose age is lowest to highest. How to see that? Let's check that. I want to see the names of the employees whose age is like lowest to smallest to highest. So how to apply that? So let's check. Let's see that. Let's discuss that as of now. So now in this case, we need to apply order by. We need to apply order by. So now thing is, as of now, if you retrieve the data from this table, which is employee, that's correct. Ishwar, So I'm having a table here, and now I want to see the record like first name, last name, salary, and based on age. Okay, I want to see the names of the first name, last name, like employees whose age is lowest to highest in the ascending order. I want to see the data into the increasing order. How to apply that? Let's see. So I'm just using select first name here, first name, last name, salary, and age. I want to see the names of the employee from lowest age to highest age. From lowest age to highest age. I use select first name, last name, salary, and age from employee, which is my table, EMP, order by age. Order by age. Once I use this, it gives us a record in the ascending order based on the age, So once I execute this, you can see I'm able to see the records from the table, which is employee, from in increasing order, right? Ajay, first name as Ajay, last name as K, salary as 75,000, age as 22. And then you can see all the records are here in the increasing order based on the age, right? You can see 22, 25, 25, 26, 26, 27, 29. So we just sort out the data here in the ascending order. We sort out the data into the ascending order. That's why I use order by. If you not mention that, that also fine. Okay, Gopi. If you not use A as C, then also it gives the same records. Okay, same things here. Okay, if you not mention that A is C, then also it gives the same records. Okay, so now here I just want to see the names of the employees who are having the lowest salaries to highest salaries. So I'm just interested in to find out the records of the employees whose salary is lowest and whose salary is highest. Means I just want to see the records based on the salary from low to high. How to apply that? Let's see. In this case, I just want to see the records from my employee table whose salary is lowest to highest. So in this case, what I'm going to do, I need to mention select first name, last name, salary from my table, which is employee. I'm going to apply order by function based on salary. So it gives me the records of the employees based on salary in the ascending order, in increasing order. So once I execute that, you can see I'm having a records from this employee table with the salary lowest to highest 50,000, 75, 80, 80, 87, 89 in this way. Okay, in this way. So that is the point. So I apply a order by function here to see the person who are having the least salary and who are having the highest salary. I can easily find out that with the help of this order by function. So now what if I want to see the records into the descending order? I want to see the highest, the records based on the highest salary to lowest salary. Highest to lowest. Highest to lowest. How to apply that? Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Ishwar. Perfect. So here in this case, what we need to do, I need to mention select first name, last name, salary from my employee table, order by salary. And if I just mention DESC, which give me a records based on first name, last name, salary. Okay, based on the salary in the descending order, like highest to lowest, highest to lowest. Once I execute that, you can see it gives us the records like Ravi Teja having the highest salary, 89,000, and the least salary, which belongs to Ravi Kiran, which is 50,000. That we can see. Okay, that we can see. So now the thing is, what if I want to see the person who are having the least salary? I want one record. I want one record of a person who are having a least salary for one person. Okay, one record only, one record. How to apply that? Let's see. So here in this case, I'm just going to mention select first name, last name, salary from my employee table, ordered by salary. Okay, order by salary, limit 1. If I mention limit 1, it give me a record of a person who are having the least salary here. And it give me the record who are having the least salary over here. Limit 1. Yeah, that's absolutely correct, issue. Perfect. The person with the least salary. I can see the records of the employee who are having the least salary over here. That is the point. Then what if I want to see the records of the employee with the highest salary, employee with the highest salary? Only one record that I want. Only one record of the employee. Then how to implement that? We need to use a query which is like select first name, last name, salary from employee, ordered by salary, limit, order by salary, DESC, limit 1. If I execute this, it give me a record of a person who are having a highest salary, over here, having a highest salary over here. That is the point. Okay, so we just apply order by function on salary. We apply DESC so that it will provide us the records in the descending order, highest to lowest, and I just apply limit 1 so that it will give me only one record with the highest salary person, highest salary employee here. That is the point. Now what if I want to see the lowest salary of employee? Okay, I want to see the lowest salary for 3 employees. 3 employees. How to see that? So in this case, I need to mention select all, or if you mention select all, it will give you all the records. Select all from EMP, order by salary. Order by salary. Okay, order by salary. Limit 3. Once you execute that, it will give you the lowest employee with having the lowest salary here. Lowest salary. That is the point. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Bhavna. You can use AAC, that is also fine. If you're not using that, that is also fine. Yeah. So I just find out that the employee, who are the 3 employees who are having a least salary. So that's why here in this case, I just mentioned select all from employee, order by salary, limit 3. So I think I can see the employee who are having a least salary for 3 employees. Okay. So now I just want to see that top 3 earners, top 3 employees, top 3 salary earners, okay, top 3 employees who are having the highest salary. How to see that? Let's check. So here in this case, I just need to mention select all from my table, which is EMP. I need to apply order by function, order by salary, order by salary DESC, and limit 3. If I use that, it gives me the employees who are having the highest salary. 3 employees who are having the highest salary. This is the point. This is the point that we need to understand. So yeah, that's absolutely correct. Perfect, Bhavna. Absolutely correct. Yeah, that's correct, Purnima. Absolutely perfect. That's correct. Yeah, DESC limit 3. These are the points. Along with that, okay, along with that, we discuss that. So what if I just want to see the if I just want to see the lowest record, we already discussed that lowest employee, highest earner, those things that we discuss. Now let's discuss about the aggregated functions. So let's discuss about the aggregated function. Now, what if I'm interested in to count that how many records are there? I'm interested in that. How many records are there? How many records are present in my table? Then we need to use function like this. Select count all from table, which is nothing but EMP. Once you execute that, it gives us a records, total record as a 6. To assign a aliasing name, we need to use as function here. So if I use a record like this way, aliasing name it as total records, then instead of this count asterisk, it gives us a title it as name it as total records over here. So once I execute that, it gives us a record it as total records. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Gopi. That's correct, Bhavna. That's correct, Ishwar. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. This is the thing. Along with that, I just want to know that how many employees are there. Okay, so I need some records here. Select all from EMP. I need to check few things here. Yeah. Okay, I'm having a ages. Yeah, that's fine. So I just need to check that how many employees are there. Employees are there in table whose age is greater than 25. Then how I going to say that? How am I going to say that? So I need to use select first underscore name. I just want the name of the employees. Okay. No, actually, I just want to see how many employees. No, so I just need to use count first name as a employees, total employees. I'm assigning a name, aliasing name it as total employees. Okay. From my EMP table where age is greater than 25. So if I execute that, it gives us a count. There are 3 employees over there whose age is greater than 25. Whose age is greater than 25. Along with that, suppose I just want to know that how many employees are there in the table whose age is greater than 25, whose age is greater than 25 and less than 29. Less than 29. To do that, we need to use a query like select count first underscore name, f underscore name, first name, okay, as a total employee. I'm just assigning a aliasing name here, total employees here, okay, from my table, which is EMP, where age is greater than 25 and less than, age is less than 29. So it will give me the count of the employees. So once I execute that, you can see it gives us that total employees are 3, whose age is lies between 25 and 29. 25 and 29. That is the thing. Okay, that is the thing. Okay. Now, what if I just want to check that how much salary? Yeah, just allow me a second. Yeah, that's correct, Gopi. Yeah, absolutely correct. Perfect. Yeah. So then here in this case, I'm interested to find out that total salaries being paid to employees. Total salaries being paid to employees. How to see that? In this case, we need to use select sum of salary as a total salary from employee table. From employee table. If I just execute that, it gives me the count total salary being paid to employees. Right? This much salary that from the table we are paying, giving to the employees. Now, what if I just want to check that the average salary being paid to employees? Average salary being paid to employees. Average salaries being paid to employees. In that case, what we need to use a function called average. So I'm just going to use average function here. And here inside that, I'm just going to mention salary here. I'm going to assign an aliasing name it as average salary from employee table, from EMP table. Once I execute that, it gives us the average salary number. This is the average salary that being paid to the employees. That is the first. Okay, that is the first thing. Okay. Yeah. So along with that, what if I just want to know that identify the youngest employee. I just want to check that who is the what is the age of my youngest employee? Age of my youngest employee. To check that, what we can do, we need to use select minimum function, minimum age as a minimum age. Let's take a age here. Okay, age. I just assign an aliasing name, and I'm just taking that from EMP table. Once I execute that, it gives me the average age of the employee, which is 22. That is it. Yeah. So today we discuss about constraints. We discuss about like order by. We discuss about aggregate function. So tomorrow we are going to discuss about the rest of the things. So kindly, whichever thing that we discuss, okay, whichever thing that we discussed, try to practice that before the session. Yeah. Okay. Once you practice that, then definitely you're going to understand in the next session. Yeah, in the clear way. Yeah. So this is available. Okay. Yeah. Okay, just practice more and more. If you practice more, then definitely you're going to understand. I think this is live. Okay, this is live on YouTube, I guess. Yeah. Just search for our channel 360DMG on YouTube. Then you'll find out this video. Okay. Yeah. Okay, just practice more and more. Yeah. Okay, Purnima. Yeah, that's correct. Absolutely. So practice more. Yeah, that's correct. Bhavna, absolutely correct. Yeah. So just practice more. That's it. If you practice more, definitely you can easily crack whichever thing that I explained here easily, and you can easily understand. Just practice it. That's it. Practice is the key. Yeah. Thank you, guys. So we'll wrap up for a day. We'll discuss the rest of the points in the next session. So don't miss this session. Okay. Tomorrow we are going to discuss about the remaining portion, like how to apply group by, how to apply a halving function. And then once I complete a group by and halving function, then we are going to discuss about joins, one of the important points. Okay. So don't miss tomorrow's session. Don't miss tomorrow's session. Tomorrow's session is important for you. So kindly practice. If you practice more, definitely you will understand. Yeah. Yes, we will provide you that. Just, yeah. Yes, Sanidhi. I'm not the right person to explain you that when we are going to provide the certificate. Once you complete this curriculum, no? Once we complete this series, and then definitely from our end, we'll provide it. How? So show the last one. Which one? Okay. See this. Yeah. Okay, Kalyani. No. So yeah, as of now, no, we are not providing you any kind of PDF notes. Okay. So yeah, but this video is available for you.
Sir,
Yes.
will you explain the setup of MySQL workbench?
Sorry, setup.
Yes.
Do one thing, no, like there are a bunch of videos out there, right? So just count. If I start that, no, it will take almost half an hour to complete that setup. Okay, it will take so much time. Okay, I love to explain that, but it will take too much time. So I'm having a time constraint as of now. On YouTube, Manaja. Okay. On YouTube, we are having the session for you. Yeah. Okay, guys. Yeah. We'll wind up for a day. Thank you for your time. Have a good day. Sorry, it's night, right? So yeah, thank you, guys. We'll meet tomorrow. Thank you for your time. Just revise it. Yeah, thank you, Bhavna. Thank you for sharing this link. Yeah. Okay, that's it from mine, guys. See you tomorrow. Yeah, that's it from mine, guys. We'll meet tomorrow. Thank you for your time. Yeah. Don't forget to revise this topic, whichever topic that we did learn today, just revise that. Yeah, that's it from mine, guys. We'll meet tomorrow. Thank you for your time. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Sir.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Yeah. We'll meet tomorrow.